Hello, welcome aboard. I just got back from a vacation to Seattle. So I took with me a little sketchbook and I thought I would show off what I did while I was there. So yeah, I say vacation because I was actually there for a celebration of life, but it was fun. We turned it into a good time. A little stressful at points, but that's how it would be. So when I wanted to travel, I wanted to make sure my setup was really light. So it was just this sketchbook, which is Royal Talons. You can kind of see it's like the size of my little baby hands. So that made it really nifty. I picked up these markers off Amazon for like $6. I had originally wanted microns, but I wanted brown, and for some reason I could not find them on Amazon. So these were great, actually. I loved these. It has a brush pen and then a bunch of like fine little fine little felt tips. And then this was my watercolor set that I took with me. It's like one of those little travel guides that just clicks together and then you snap it on your sketchbook. So for a chunk of the trip, I'll show you what it was basically like. Sometimes I would have it on there like whoop, like this, and I'd be painting this way. But if I'm being honest, most of the time I had it really like cockeyed, and it would be like this. That's how I mostly had it, and you can see it kind of got loved. Whoop. So yeah, that was my setup. Oh, and then for the brush, I had like these two guys that were really snazzy. So they just hold water in their butts. Pretty cool. They didn't leak at all. And then one was a fat tip, and then one was a little skinny guy. So these guys, these were my drawing tools, and then of course the watercolor set. And then I didn't actually use my jelly roll at all on the trip, or my Stabilo, or my pencil actually. So yeah, that was what I used. And then I have scraps of like old work pants and jeans, because sometimes my pants get really sad and they're not like able to be donated, so I just cut them up and use the scraps for other stuff. So for like art stuff, or my boyfriend is like into mechanics and he's doing stuff with oil on his bike and whatever, or his cars, so I'll throw him some of these. They're just good for cleaning in general, and they dry really quickly. Hot tip. It's good to recycle. Okay. I will say a lot of this, I drew first, painted later. Some of them I did both. And then there's like 2 drawings at the end where I used my fancy watercolor set. Sorry, I'm throwing air quotes around like they're candy. So this is my main set that I use. I just love it because to me it's like, wow, I feel like a real artist with this. Not saying that I'm not, but you know how it be. So yeah, this is Master's Touch. You can kind of see how vibrant some of the colors are. Friggin' love the fluorescent ones. I'll go on about those later. And this guy is $25. I call it my fancy set, but it's cheap. But I'm still baby at watercolor, so that's all I need. We can still make good art with cheap things. Jot that down. And then this is like my set of brushes that I just have for basically everything. Anyways, let's get into it, but not really, because first I'm going to brag about all the stickers. This is not from Washington. This I got at an art fair from a local artist. So Northwest Track, we went to a park, picked up a sticker there. This is a sticker in a pack that I got from my boyfriend on Etsy. This is a sticker I got from Dalton Doodles on Instagram. One of my favorite artists. Highly recommend you check him out. He also has a YouTube channel. San Juan Islands, because we went there on the trip, and a crab, because they're cool and we saw a lot of those, actually. Okay, I covered up a bunch of my info in here, so we can just keep on flipping. So that was just like, hey, bring this back to me. And then, cool holographic sticker from a pack. Alright, so the first page, this was done at home, right before the trip with my fancy set. Seattle, Washington, 2025, baby. I just remember there being a lot of pine trees when I was there. I had lived there for a couple years for like my tween years. So I remember the trees being huge. It was really rainy and like the worst rain ever. But I loved living in Washington. That was probably my favorite state that I've lived in. Now I'm in Wisconsin. How did we get here? Who knows? First day, we had to drive from home to the Minneapolis airport, and on the way, we see a Love's gas station. We always stop. We always get something there. So I thought I'd draw the truckie. So this was drawn first, painted at the hotel that we slept in that night. And this was just with my little dinky set. So it took me pretty far, dude. My mom's just like, are you sure that's enough colors? And I was just like, it'll be fine. It's for a trip. And it was. Also, this was only like $10. This is also Master's Touch. Sorry, y'all. I'm like really cheap, so whatever. And I'm sure you've probably seen this on like other YouTuber, Instagram, TikToky whatevers. I'm not on the TikTok, but I'm sure a lot of people are. Well, I know a lot of people are because they're showing me TikToks, but you know. We saw a bunch of killdeer on our trip. If you haven't seen a killdeer, look it up. They're the cutest little idiots. We just see them in a lot of parking lots, and there's always like a small puddle next to them or something. They seem like water boys. They're like water birds, and when they walk, it's really funny because they're just like scuttling by. I didn't paint this one because I didn't feel like it needed to be painted. I just liked it as is, so I was like, okay, we stop there. I wrote killdeer in the background. Okay, so the night before the flight, we slept in a hotel in Minneapolis, and we could not sleep. It was such a nasty little hotel. So the next day, we wanted to make sure we would sleep. So we went to a dispensary, and I got 2 edibles, and oh my gosh, I slept amazing the next night. The first day of traveling was just nuts. It was like our flight got delayed by like a bajillion hours, and then we had to wait in line for forever for the rental car, and then we had to drive to our hotel for like 2 hours or 3 hours. So we lost the whole first day of the trip, but we slept great that night. But also, I'm baby. I got like a little 5 milligram guy, and it knocked me out, dude. So I wrote, the weed has hands, do not be fooled. And then after like all of that fiasco, we had like the celebration of life and stuff, did family things. Me and my boyfriend attempted to hike and then immediately like launched our rental car into this little pothole that no one could have ever seen. There's no way anybody would see that thing. Oh no, why are you stuck? Okay. Let's not skip pages here. So then it was an hour-long ferry ride, and me and my brother and my boyfriend all brought sketchbooks. My dad was also there. That's who was on the journey. And while we were walking up to the ferry to board, we walked. We didn't take a car onto there. We saw a bunch of cormorants just chilling on all like the wooden poles sticking out of the water or just flying. And we just thought it was funny how long their necks are. So the 2 boys drew like really goofy looking birds. I'm not gonna ask them for photos, but they were really funny looking, and they draw in a more like animated style, so it was just silly birds that they drew. I tried to draw like a normal, you know, polite, nice looking cormorant, but then I really liked the silly birds they were doing, so I also did a couple silly boys. So I did one with a really long neck and a like squished neck. And then in the background are some of the islands that we passed on the ferry. There was a lot of boats, lots of marine stuff happening there. Very cool. This is the window on the ferry. It's kind of like, you know, that I can't talk today. That nasty, like, yellow, brown, ochre color of boat. Like someone smoked, like, 1,000 cigarettes in a white room. And then once we got to Friday Harbor, the boys really wanted to ride mopeds. And originally I was like, yeah, I'm gonna ride a moped. But then once we actually got there, I was super spooked, and I was like, I can't ride a moped, guys, I'm too scared. And my boyfriend's like, well, I want you to be with me, or like not alone. So we'll get one of the silly looking cars, and he drove that for us, and he did such a great job. It was really fun riding in this thing. So there was a big loop of the island that we did just driving in this, and it doesn't go very fast. I think we maxed out at like 45, and he kept saying the alignment was really bad, so we were like wiggling all over the road, but that made it fun. So yeah. So this was something I drew and then later painted. And then there was also free stickers once we returned the moped thing. Okay. This is just me covering up information, because I'm dumb. Then I did a page of fatalities. Also, this was like half my plane ticket, in case you wanted to know. So for fatalities on the trip, I put the rental car because we fell in a ditch, basically. No thanks to a bunch of hikers that did try to help us out of it, but we ended up having to get towed and it was a whole thing. The first airplane getting delayed a bunch. Like, we got boarded, and then everyone got on board and they're like, actually, we have to deboard everyone because there's an issue with the air conditioning. And we were like, okay, whatever. After, like, sitting there for a while being like, why aren't we moving? That was, oh my gosh, an experience. And then I put the Goobermobile because we were having issues with it, and I thought, you know, I'm so helpful, I'll just try pushing a random button. So I just flipped this switch, and it immediately killed the little red car guy. We named him Makasu because he's red, and if you've ever seen Gemuseru Machu Picchu, the main character is named Makasu, and he has a red t-shirt. It's a goofy little, like, YouTube anime. Watch it if you like weird stuff. And then I wrote our skin, because Friday Harbor, we were out in the sun all day, and I didn't really think about it, because we were in a lot of shade, too, and everything was so cool outside. So, yeah. Our knees got really burned because they were sticking outside of the motorcycle, and my face was really red at the end of the day. Okay. And then I glued a bunch of, like, maps in here because I knew I was going to get tired at one point. I took a glue stick with me on vacation. So there's that. So we started here. Yeah, this is the ferry line. So we started here, got some mopeds. Actually, I went the wrong way first because they were really bad at giving directions. And then we went down here all the way through Cattle Point to the beach. So there was, like, a lighthouse at the top of a hill, and then we walked down to the bottom, and it was so cool. I've never seen a tide pool before, so that was my one goal on this trip. So I wrote, like, yeah, we saw tide pools, they were sick. We also got lost using the shitty provided maps because they were just awful. Worst maps you could imagine. And I don't know why we were all, like, stupid and didn't use our phones. Maybe it's because we were on vacation, we weren't thinking about them. But, they gave us, like, this blank white sheet of paper with, like, a shitty black marker map that was missing half the roads. And it was just like, okay, we got lost a lot. But it was fun because we bumped into, like, everyone else on our trip with us. The whole family went to Friday Harbor, so it was, like, my family and then extended peeps. So I drew a little lighthouse, which is funny because it looks nothing like the lighthouse we saw. The one we saw was actually more square and really cute and small. Because it was at the top of a hill, I think it didn't need to be tall. So yeah, then I wrote that we met up with my dad and brother, went whale watching here at the state park. We ate giant hot dogs, which will be featured later. We didn't see any whales, but we did see a lot of jellyfish, and chitons. Very cool. I think it's pronounced chitons. Maybe it's chittens. I don't know. But they looked like little sea slug roach guys. I don't know how to explain it. They were just, floop, just little dudes. Little old mans. I don't know. But the jellyfish were really cool, because it was just like, wow, live jellyfish in nature. Very exciting. Here are the whales we didn't see. And I feel like that is my whale watching experience every time. Like, my entire life is like, we go to see whales, and no one sees any whales. I have seen them before, but it's like, I don't know, when we were kids, and they would just randomly pop up. They show up when you're not looking for them, you know? We all really liked the ferry ride. It did actually look like this. This is a watercolor rendering of it. The deck was really cold, but it was nice because we were all sunburnt. And I was riding in the car because we were stuck in traffic a lot. Boop. This is probably, like, my favorite drawing from the trip. So get a good look at it. Me and my brother really wanted to go to Pike Place Market, so we did that. They're known for, like, seafood and throwing a bunch of giant fish around. That's what we remember. They're all about the crabs there, so I really wanted to draw some crabs. So this was like a bunch of crabs in ice at one of the vendors' places. Yeah. Yeah. So we got like caviar and some crabbies and shrimp and this big fish. Okay. There was a day we went to the Seattle Aquarium. Oh, also, these right now are with my small palette. So, like, I feel like the range here, crazy. And then, yeah, birds seen at the Seattle Aquarium. We saw a black oyster catcher, a tufted puffin, and a common mure. I don't know what was happening on the trip. I couldn't remember how to write anything. So, yeah. There's my guys. There's the bird boys. I just really like birds. I'm probably going to be like one of those old ladies that's like, I'm a bird watcher now, even though I'm already watching birds and being like, oh, look at this, it's a grackle. Or look at this, it's like, I don't know, a cardinal. I'm real basic, but it's cool. We went to the Northwest Trek, which is just like a little nature park thing with, I don't want to say local animals, like animals that are native to Washington, I think is a good way to put it. At least I assume. Yeah. So we saw caribou, mountain goats, deer, this weird little ground beaver dude that was super cute. He's like a regular beaver, but small, and he doesn't, like, chew wood. He, like, takes his little buck teeth, and he eats through, like, thick plants and weeds, and he makes a little house, and it was adorable. There was a trumpeter swan that was enormous. I can't remember what the wingspan was. It was, like, 6 to 12 feet or something nuts like that. Saw some bison there. Guys, I love slugs. All I wanted to see on this trip was a banana slug, and gosh dang it, we did it. That was at the Northwest Trek. So, I had told my boyfriend we were going to see a ton of slugs on this trip, and we get there, and it's like the most beautiful weather I've ever seen in Washington. Like, clear skies, sun, like, breezy, 70 degrees. And I was like, whatever, because it rains here all the time, but we were noticing how dry a bunch of the plants were, and one of the locals was just like, oh yeah, it's been like a really dry month. It hasn't rained in like a month, basically. And I was like, dude, what? So we saw 2 slugs our whole trip. One was in the pothole that we fell into with our rental car. And then the other one was just like out and about at the Northwest Trek. And then we saw 2 banana slugs like in an exhibit there. And I just love them. I love slugs. They're really friggin' cute. And also yellow's my favorite color, so I love them. Bananas are funny, I'm sorry. That's also why this is yellow, because I love yellow. It's just a happy color. This I drew in traffic. It's awful. If you've ever been on the I-5 in Washington, you know what it's about. Like, we would leave at 6 or 7 in the morning from Mount Vernon to Seattle. It would take us an hour to get there, no problem. But leaving Seattle to get back to Mount Vernon took us almost like 3 to 4 hours, because traffic was that bad. And we had, like, the fun little Fast Pass Disney things. Just kidding, they're not Disney. But it's like, you know, the Fast Pass tickets, the toll lane. There's the carpool lane you can jump into if there's more than 2 of you in the car. And it was usually 3 of us. And it was just, oh my god, that would get clogged up too. But everyone there is so nice. Everyone lets you into traffic. It was blowing my mind. Like, incredible. 10 out of 10. The people there, very friendly. And almost everyone had, like, a cool story for us. Like, one guy was like, oh, what's your tattoo? And I was like, oh, it's from Brandon Sanderson's, like, the Stormlight Archive. And they were like, oh, neat, I've met him before, and he's really nice. And I was like, oh my god, that is incredible, and I'm glad he is nice. Brandon Sanderson's cool, too. If you check out any of his videos, he's a great writer. He cranks out books like it's nobody's business. We ate a lot of cool food on the trip, so I wanted to draw that. This is with my big fancy palette, so this was this guy doing the heavy lifting here. And yeah, I think you can see that there's a lot more, like, color diversity, and also I feel like the pigment looks better on here. So here's the giant hot dog mentioned earlier. It had cheddar and sour cream and jalapenos, and it was so good. My dad got this one too. A strawberry concha that was delicious and huge. That was just a road trip snack. Spam musubi I got at the airport on the way home. The takoyaki and the shoyu ramen, super good. I've never had takoyaki, but I always wanted to try it, and it was delicious. It's just like octopus with weird sauce and in a little breaded ball thing. Delicious. We had free continental breakfast at the hotel, so I ate pretty much a waffle a day there. Yeah. Take a gander at that, baddie. Just another, like, low effort page because we were pooped out. Boyfriend got a shirt, I got some earrings. My brother got a seal that got him in trouble with the TSA. He was fine, lol. It was like a seal statue that we picked up on the last day. He had wanted it all week, and it set off some kind of sensor. We don't know what it was made out of, but something in it was setting off the alarms. He was totally fine, though. Little ticket stubby. I was really tired at the end of this trip, if you couldn't tell. That's why my airplane looks all fat in the butt. So yeah, flight home was so much nicer. Like, everything was on time. We had a nice person we sat next to. Both plane trips, actually. This plane trip was a little grandma, but also there was like 1 million kids in our half of the plane. They were all behaving. They were just, you know, loud and rambunctious because they're children trapped in a tiny little vessel. But yeah, so there's that. We went to an artist and craftsman's supply shop. That was kind of the main thing I wanted to do. So I drew everything I got, and I brought them with me down here, actually. One sec. The highlight of what I got was this, Caran d'Ache Fluo, like, highlighter pencil. Look at how neon this baddie is, dude. Look at it. Vibrant. So I got that. And then I also wanted this Blackwing pencil. It's a balanced one. I have the soft ones. So I don't know. It was nice to just buy one pencil rather than a whole box that's like $30. I feel insane doing that for like 12 pencils that are just drawing pencils, you know? They're really nice though. Highly recommend. Picked up some China markers. White and black. I used these in a photography class and I just liked how they feel. And I haven't used one since, so I was just like, whoa, cool. Picking that up. I'm on vacation. Oh, sorry, I'm jostling my camera. 2 little paintbrush guys. They were just thin and I wanted some fine ones. And then this sander block thing. I don't know why, but I can't find these anywhere just sold as is. They're always in a set of pencils or something, so that was sick. And then I won't pull it out, but I also got a pencil sharpener and some brush cleaner. So yeah, I like how this page turned out. It looks like a postcard or something. Was a little bummed out that this paint came through from the other side. But what is? Alright, lastly, we got souvenirs. I bought so much stuff on this trip. So many buttons and magnets, my goodness. So I just kind of like loosely drew what I remembered they look like. Bunch of postcards from these really nice ladies at the Pike's Place Market. Their store was called Osara. I think it was Osara Market. They had the best items and also the best prices. And like, I think one of the ladies there does art too. And she just had all of these cat watercolors of like cats just running around the market and stuff. And it was so cute. I literally bought 7 postcards for myself just to hang up. Maybe I'll send one out, but I doubt it because I just like them all. I got this orca ornament. It's made out of wood, and it was painted. I don't know what Native American tribe it is from. It could be Tlingit, but I'm probably wrong. I can't remember what the other main tribe is up there. Yeah, I can't remember the tribe. If you know, let me know. And that came from Friday Harbor, actually. And then I picked up some earrings in La Conner, which is where my grandma used to take us as kids, because she really liked La Conner, and we were there for her. Pike's Place Market t-shirt and bag. I just really wanted a shirt from there, because I love the market. It was great. It was also really clean. Me and my brother both remember Pike's Place being, like, the nastiest, little, grungiest, dark, stinky place ever. And it was just like, whoa, everything is really clean and nice. Of course the city was stinky, but I don't know, cities are always stinky. But yeah, it was just like, wow, incredibly clean there. So yeah, shirt from somebody, and then a tote bag. And then I just think Lafufus are funny. Like, I'm actively looking out for the fake ones. So I got a little keychain that was like mint green, and boy howdy, I feel like I drew this perfectly. Other than the one giant foot, but I just thought that made it funny. So yeah. Little keychain guy. I don't need a real Labubu, and I don't want one, but the fake ones, I'm like, yeah, I'll pick that up for like $6, whatever. Okay. And then I started drawing some city birds, and that's kind of the end of it. I'll probably finish this and like paint it later. But we saw a bunch of crows, a lot of pigeons, and then just like little house finch sparrow dudes. So yeah, that's all she wrote. It was a good trip. Saw a lot of cool stuff. Got stressed out a lot. But overall, great experience. Would go back to Washington again. I love it. When we got there, I was like, guys, it feels like I'm home. The air was delicious. Just like, what? I forgot how good air could taste. But that's probably because in Wisconsin right now, we're getting a lot of the wildfire smoke from Canada. So we've landed, there was just instant haze. It looked nasty outside. So yeah. But love Washington. Beautiful state, beautiful people. Would go back. Really miss it. I was relieved to come back home to like a more calm environment and just like my own bed. But that's kind of how it goes on all vacations. Anyways, thanks for stopping in and looking at everything. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a good day.